Hello and welcome, folks, to another edition of RSF Radio. This is the show where we talk about what's been going on the front page of our Street Fighter. I'm your host, Joe Monday, and I have a special guest today who I've kind of been really interested to talk to. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders and a good look at what people are doing in the community. I've got Choy on the line. What's happening, man?
Hey, dude. It's good to be here.
I am happy to have you on, and
thanks,
I want to roll into it because I like to have some time up front for people to pitch whatever they have going on, so they can, you want to put that in front of the show so people can't avoid it later. So what do you got going on right now? What products do you have? Where can people find you? What do you want?
Mostly Twitter, and I guess the big thing that we got is what's called toptier.gg. It's like a new website that we started, and it's just, it's there for the community, and it's just, I guess we'll kind of dive a little bit deeper into it. And if you want to find me personally, you can find me on Twitter at ChoySauce85. That's CHOY sauce85, and then you can follow the Top Tier Twitter at toptiergg.
It's actually like, I don't know why it was alarming to me that Top Tier GG was never taken after all of this time.
You know what's funny is that my partner, I founded it with another guy. His name is Gabriel Arteaga. Some people might know him better as Thrill House. He actually sat on that URL or that domain name for like the longest time. So he's just been paying for it and kept it. So That explains a lot, actually. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Because when I was looking at that name initially, I'm like, dang, really? No one's taking that? All right, so this is like the nest egg has been sitting on for a while. Okay. Yeah. But what the website does, though, I mean, because how long ago did you start this website? We started this past February, so that's February of 2019. So it's crazy to think it's only been like half a year now. Yeah,
this year has felt like 5 years.
Yeah, so much stuff going on
in more ways than one.
Yeah,
some things fortunately, some things unfortunately.
Yeah.
But with that in mind, though, when you first launched, I was like, holy shit, this is the website. This is the one that we need. Because initially, it has turned into kind of a larger beast, which we'll dig into here in a minute. But initially, it was just, if you have a local, if you run a tournament, fill out this form, it'll be put into the calendar, and it's got the mat. It's a whole thing that is like perfectly put together. As soon as I saw it, I was like, well, we don't need anyone else to do anything like this because this is it. We're here. We've made it. So you want to maybe further do a better job explaining?
Sure.
I just tried to do.
Yeah,
clumsily.
when we first launched, it was focused on like trying to find your local or like fighting game event. It was kind of inspired because or maybe I'll talk a little bit about like how it works real quick. So basically it's like, you can submit your local and then we'll just add it into like our database and it shows up on a map and you can kind of search it by like game or like if you know the
the name of the local, then you might be able to find it that way. You can search by like your location. So there's like a geolocate button. So it'll, it's got all that fancy tech to find where you are, and then just kind of find what's nearby you. So that way you can kind of like find, whatever fighting game event you want to attend.
Yeah, no, like as soon as it launched, I was like, this is such a great tool. If only everyone that runs a local would take advantage of this, please God.
Yeah.
Because that's the other part that I have found to be, I don't know why this is difficult. It shouldn't be. But getting the word out to people who run tournaments that there is this resource available to them, like to freely use, you can just do it. You just have that information out there is like, I feel like it's pulling teeth. Like you have to, what trick is there? What tricks have you been employing?
I mean, I think what it is like I try to, think about it from the TO's perspective, and it's like, oh, Twitter is good enough. If I just post it, someone will retweet it, right? Or I'll just ask James Chen to retweet it for me, which is like, some kind of like a little bit of that, where that inspiration came from, because like, what is that? Well, I guess we'll talk about that problem real quick, but it's like, I just feel like it's just basically laziness, and maybe lack of knowledge about marketing, because like, it's like they just think, oh, like people will come, don't worry about it. But it's like, or they just don't want to fill out the form and just kind of, utilize it because it's like, we got enough people, or it's like, it's good enough. I don't really care.
Right.
So, there's plenty of reasons, but I think that maybe if we, get the word out and hopefully like we become more of a household name, then, people will just like, everybody will just put it in. So, because that's kind of like one of my goals is like to grab every local in the world, and just make sure that like, nobody's like missing there. And like another part of that, it's like to see on the map, like, if there's like this huge area that's missing, then like somebody might be inspired to say, hey, I can, take over this area, or like, maybe not take over, but like I can pop up a local to help people near that area.
Yeah, you can literally see the need for it. Well, it's not even that. I don't know if they're bad at marketing so much as I feel like a lot of people are like, well, I just took over this Facebook group because the last person quit, and now we advertise on Facebook and like not really quote unquote advertise. Or I feel like there's still a lot of things that locals that run only from Facebook. It's the only place you can find them.
Yeah, that tends to be where I see a lot of postings that like I miss. Like sometimes I'll kind of scrounge the internet and look for more just so we could add more.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I don't know if I would go as far to say that they're all bad at marketing, even though I will say that. But
sure, to some degree.
It is almost as if TOs are treating the marketing of their local the same way that they treat or would think about the FGC in terms of, if I have a good thing or I'm a good player, then that justifies the existence, like that is enough just to be good or just to run a good thing, where actually there's like tons of other shit that people actually have to be worrying about if you want to be like an influential player, for example, or have an influential local. There's so many other things that you have to think about, where it's not this like meritocracy of I have a good thing, people will use and see this good thing. There's so much more.
That's always the tragedy of like when you do actually make something that's great, and it's like people will just talk about it, but some people have to see it to like really appreciate it.
Yeah, that's the and it just will unfortunately oftentimes just not go unseen by the people who would otherwise need to see it, which in your case, you've provided this awesome website that does a lot of the work for people and is just like, well, here it is. The other thing that I kind of want to talk about, because you have this list and because you have this map, is, do you have a plan for locals that shutter and aren't around anymore?
I mean, it's hard because it's like such a cat and mouse game with locals, you know.
Yeah. Especially with numbers like that big that you're working with. Like now you have this huge database. Are you like, is a human going to look through all of these locals every week and be like, okay, they're not, or every month maybe, and be like, okay, they're not doing it anymore. They're not.
Yeah, I mean, like part of it is like, you know, when I have some time, I'll kind of scrub through them to see if like they still exist, or if they, you know, especially when a new game is added, then I might go through and kind of look at it. But, you know, obviously it's like, it's impossible for any one person to do, especially with the other stuff I'm doing with the website. Mm-hmm. So my thinking of it is like, it's not a bad thing if a, you know, dead local is like up there, because, you know, at best, you know, they might contact the, you know, people because there's contact information for the, what, you know, for the local. Yeah. And at worst, you know, they'll go out at that time and just like, hey, what the hell? There's nothing here, you know? And it's like, you know, I mean, we can't control that, but, you know, I think just like, you know, using a little bit of common sense to say, hey, let me contact these guys and say, what time you guys meet up? How exactly do I get there? You know, maybe then they'll say, oh, sorry, we don't meet anymore, or something like that. But I think the best case scenario for me would be if like TOs like really knew about it and they really wanted to use it. You know, like we want to try to improve the site. So maybe if people gave us feedback on how we could do it, then, you know, they would like submit some updates or like tell us like, hey, you know, well, most likely like if they, you know, closed down, they probably wouldn't tell us because they're just like, we don't care anymore.
Yeah. You know, it's way easier to drop something instead of being like, wait a minute,
reporting in. Yeah.
Yeah, just reporting in that we don't meet anymore. So like that scenario is.
Yes, I mean that's how I figure. Yeah, it's that. Like if they're not in there anymore, then it's like maybe someone can tell us, hey, these guys are gone. It's like, oh, okay, then I'll take it down.
That's more likely the case, honestly.
Yeah.
No, that's an unfortunate part about things is that the other. That's just what I thought when I initially saw this, where I was like, okay, they're gonna get a ton of responses up front. They're going to build this great list, and that hopefully will not become so many other lists that we have. Like our Street Fighter itself has like 3 different lists that I can send people of like, here's locals. Don't know if all of these are active or are meeting in the same place, but here's a bunch. Here's
yeah, I mean, I think, you know, with our site, since it has like a nice UI, like as opposed to like looking at a sheet, you know, it's like, I think there's a little bit more.
I think that's the draw, honestly.
Yeah,
a little bit. That's the main pool. Whenever I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, this is it. That's what people need. That's what people are looking for, quite honestly.
Yeah, especially with the search, it just makes it like 100 times easier, because it's like, I'm not gonna, you know, like try to go to a sheet and like Control F, and it's like, is my city in here? Or, you know, maybe my state. I don't know. Let's try to look around maybe, but.
No, I'm definitely with you on that. It definitely makes things easier. And again, it's one of those things where as soon as I saw it with my eyes, I was like, oh, this is it. Hopefully, this is where the majority of people go. So if you are out there, listener, and you are a T, or if you go to a local, if you go to a local, that's the other part. When people say support your locals, it's not just going sometimes. It's stepping out and saying, let me do something, or let me just fucking fill out this form on Top Tier GG.
Please.
To let people even know where this thing is. That is sometimes very useful and will help bring people into your community, potentially. Who knows?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, like the inspiration for it really was like, you know, James Chen's like tweets like every other week where it's like, hey, this person's looking for this local. Anybody know where to help them out? You know, it's like I see that all the time, and it's like, how come there's no place to, you know, just look?
Yeah, because if James Chen doesn't know the exact one place to look, then
think you're screwed then. Sorry here. Then.
Yeah. Just for how long he's been around and the numbers of websites that he's likely used over the years to.
Oh yeah.
I mean, shit. Were people listing their locals on GameFAQs? No, fucking.
It's all in text form.
Yeah. But anyway, so aside from that, though, I think the other draw that I think gives top tier GG a little bit more longevity or another draw for people is that you've been hosting these. What do I call them? Like op-eds? What are we going to call these?
Yeah. I guess like technically op-eds or editorials. Like that's what we've been categorizing them at the site.
Yeah. Do you want to explain where this part came? Because this part came from out of left field, and I've been like, oh shit, you're pulling the right names here. I'm digging what you're putting down.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like. Honestly, it kind of came from like a little bit of two things. Like I really like writing in a sense. Or I'm not the best writer, but like I just love to try to teach and impart knowledge and like try to codify like how to like get better at video games or like get better at fighting games, particularly. And
right.
I feel like it's like there's always like beginner stuff and like not a lot of intermediate or advanced stuff. So maybe I can try to delve into putting that into words and seeing if I could do that. So that's something I like to do personally. And I think another portion of it was like we needed traffic. So cause what is that? Like people just come in to see an event and checking. It's like, oh, is there an event near me? No? Okay. And then they're not going to come back,
Yeah.
So,
the use case for your site for some people was very single use. And then you're like, oh shit, I actually have to, I got to run a website. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I can't just keep paying all these server fees and just like let people one and done it and just like, oh, okay, I found my local, I'm good. So yeah, that was a big impetus for it. But and so like I guess with that, I kind of wanted to be a little bit creative and kind of curate the stuff that we wanted to like write about and the like the things we want to talk about. Like we're very like community centered and we want to we used it as we're thinking about other ways of using it besides like tutorials and stuff. But another big thing that we got started was like what we call the unsung heroes of the FGC, which has been really, really cool because like a lot of people that I didn't know about like kind of popped up through there and it's like, oh wow, these people are great and I've never heard of them before. And that was actually started by a writer that came to us that wanted to help write for the site, and his name's Eli. He goes by Bodied Novel on Twitter. And ever since he came on, like the traffic's been soaring actually. So he's written a lot of great things for us, and it's just been super helpful. So
yeah, he's like a really good writer to begin with, and also it just happens to know the right people or knows where to direct people's attention. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
I've been really happy with how those have turned, or at least with that particular article turned out. And I was like, dang, this is hitting exactly what I think you're aiming for. So this is sick.
Awesome.
Is there any other articles or op-eds that have stood out to you that you might want to point people towards?
Let me think. There's one that I thought was just really, I did it for fun, was like how to be hygienic in the FGC. So I wrote that right before Evo, and I'm like, please, read this. And I made like a little infographic for it. So I thought it was just really fun.
Oh boy, it is unfortunate that is the case. But at the same time, though, I mean, you see after any major event when you get that many people in a room, there it's like, I've got the Evola. And that has to do with hygiene for sure. Yeah, honestly, I mean, it's not a good situation. I mean, you get that many human beings in one place. It's like, well, maybe don't shake people's hands, maybe just fist bump, and that's okay. And also wash your ass.
Yeah, exactly. Wash your ass. Yeah, I mean, like it's part of it was like I did a little bit of the science behind it too, because I was really curious, like, why do people smell in the first place? And like I added that as part of the article, and then like a lot of tips on like what you can do for yourself to prevent like sickness, and like, you know, what you can do to be, you know, courteous to other people in terms of the smell, you know. So, you know, just like fun stuff like that. Like, and then I have another series. I don't know. I just have so many ideas that I want to put out. It's just I don't have the time and like method to just like churn them out fast. And like another series I have is called I'm calling Adapt, which is kind of like taking lessons from fighting games to like real life, like you know, kind of paralleling those things, because I feel like a lot of that can go hand in hand. And yeah, so like those are just a couple of the things that we have. And then like there's another article that by Eli that I really liked, was like it was a really long one that he did about like the history between Smash and FGC, which is kind of like showing like, you know, kind of why is it a little bit divided, but at the same time it's still kind of close by to each other.
Yeah, they've always been adjacent without a whole lot of crossover. Not at least until like, recently, where it's been a little bit more of that.
Yeah, which I think is really cool. You know, I called it like we're like neighboring communities.
Yeah, and sometimes you hate your neighbor, and that's fine. Or sometimes you have a nice neighbor, and that's very good.
Yeah. Sometimes you get together and have some fun.
Yeah. Sometimes you have a block party, and one of the neighbors is drunk, and the other one can't drink yet.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
Or like that. Did you see that infographic of the average age of Evo attendees?
Oh yeah.
And when Smash was only 20, I was like, okay, yep, cool.
So funny.
And then Samurai Showdown was like somewhere upwards of like 40. I was like, okay,
right, 35 or something like that. Yeah, but that's quite a feat, especially with the numbers that Smash had. It's like, and it's still down to that low. It's like
largest game in the tournament, and still that's where your numbers are. Okay, I think you know your audience though. That's again,
but it's good. It's like we got the younger generation still coming up and learning fighting games. So.
Yeah, and I'm not here to dunk on Smash. I know I do it flippantly sometimes, but I think it's a great. I think the latest game is a great game to bring people into fighting games. Like it did the thing that everyone hopes fighting games would do, and just popularizes that particular game to bring in so many people. But I think they've done a good job. And like Nintendo recently has really turned over a new leaf of accepting the competitive side of their games.
Yeah.
Which is kind of new for them, even though Melee is still somewhat left out in the... I don't like to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? It's like, it's not going to sell more copies, you know?
Yeah,
sadly.
You're not... Yeah. Unless... They do a re-release of Melee for the Nintendo Switch, or... No, that won't happen. I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, we'll see.
But no. So you're actually like doing traffic now with this whole article series, and I've been excited to see it's been like every week or so. There's about, is that like the rate?
Just about. I mean, like, you know, I have a full-time job, so it's not easy to find the time to do everything. But it's between me and so between me and Eli, you know, we just try to churn out what we can. You know, like we you know, like if there's any like major news, then I'll just write like a really quick, like, you know, one paragraph thing. You know, I'm not like as eloquent as like other like news people, but I think it's just as long as people know what they want to know, then they'll be good. You know, so that's like another aspect that we're just trying to do. So, but you know, we don't want to like, you know, just put out just whatever, you know, just for the traffic, because like I just feel like it just makes it kind of, you know, kind of weird. It's like, you know. Like, I care about what we put on the site, you know.
Yeah, you're not a news site. You're like a highly curated list site. basically.
Yeah.
And part of that happens to be some articles that might hit the FGC in just the right ways. No, all right, that's cool. Are there any more plans for the future? Like, what else is that you're allowed to talk about?
I mean, like, I know you mentioned that we had a calendar, but we actually don't. So that's one thing we got to add. We just got to just program that.
Wait a minute, hold the phone. Yeah. Do you not have it in mind?
No, we don't actually. I mean, that's one of the first things that we want to implement. But yeah, I know that's important because it's part of like people wanting to plan their trips and seeing like what majors is coming up. So that's easy to we're gonna implement it. We're working on it. I know that we're thinking about maybe just adding maybe like a tier list thing. So, because like how can we be called toptier.gg if we don't have like tier lists,
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. So that's in the plans, and other stuff like I don't know, we're just like coming up with ideas and just seeing what sticks. We're just kind of thinking about like, what does the community need, and like what we think would be cool, and just like see if it works or not. So, that's just kind of where we're going with that. I think maybe we'll have some merch so we can help support the site maybe soon. So we're thinking about that.
That is the other side of it, where it's like, if you're trying to actually at least even just make this self-sustainable, it's like you said, you got to pull numbers somehow.
Yeah, it's like the ad revenue is like doesn't really do much. It helps a little bit, but it's like if I had my way, I wouldn't put ads. But what can you do?
Yeah, if you want to pay for any of this shit, if you want to have nice things, you got to run ads, which you'll never hear on this because I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I mean, you got the integrity. I don't know, maybe maybe in the future we'll be able to like partner up with like, I don't know, certain products or something. We'll see. I don't know. That's like a distant future, but
yeah. That's something that I think where you're looking at things that would directly be, or at least I don't want to say pander, but like be in line with the audience that you're serving.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't want to like just get some random doodads and just say, oh, just get these fidget spinners for like whatever, and then like we don't care or just want to sell as many as we can. It's like we'd probably just want to partner with people that like have great products that the FGC would love.
You mentioned fidget spinners, and I'm just like, do people actually still fucking? Is that still a thing?
No, that's not a thing anymore.
You say that, but at the same time, that then immediately led me to think, oh shit! Like I was in my brother's car, and he had like a whole bag of fucking fidget spinners next to his like child seat that he like gives away for. I'm just like product or fucking whatever.
Damn, those guys are like 2 years late then or something then.
Well, they are from like 5 years ago. That's why there's a whole fucking like freezer bag full of them. And well, the thing about those ones that his fidget spinners, which makes them different from other fidget spinners, is that they have bottle openers on either side.
Oh,
of them,
dang.
Which
now
makes them
a game changer.
You would think, but nah. That ain't it fit. Hold on, let me open your and then just open up a whole line of bottles.
That'd be sick if that could. I'd like that video. I'd retweet that video.
Yeah, if someone could do like a bar trick of like flicking a fidget spinner, and I know you've seen people bounce them off your knee, but have you seen just down the fucking line? No, fucking fidget spinners are dead. Don't try and make them a thing.
Please don't.
Please don't sell people that. You don't. I feel like if you buy a fidget spinner, you've already fucked up. Like there's.
It's like some boomer. It's like, oh, the kids love this stuff, right? I think this will make me cool.
All right, enough disparaging people who are into fidget spinning.
Oh shoot, sorry. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of boomers that love the FGC too. So
it's like making fun of people who still yo-yo. Although there are some cool yo-yos, I was totally into yo-yos back in the day. So. Yeah.
I'm all good about that.
All right. Yeah, again, not here to yuck anyone's yum. Just anyway. But that's cool to hear that you've got some stuff planned for the future for Top Tier GG. I'm into it. I'm looking forward to it because from what I've seen so far, I'm a fan. I hope that people are directed towards your site and are driven to use it and take advantage of it because I think it's a great service. But also services are not free, which people seem to forget about a lot of the time. And you know what else is not free is entry fees to tournaments.
Oh boy.
A lot of the time. And all right, what's your gut check on this one? Because this is a thing that can, like, for whatever reason, continues to come up, and I see the same, like, 5 arguments for this shit. Like, seemingly, to me, I'm like, year after year, like, have you guys y'all, like, forget about the argument we had fucking last month about payouts in the FGC and how and why you can get them? Like, what's your gut check on this?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think we all have, like short-term amnesia from all the social media, but
honestly, the FGC rots your brain.
Yeah, but in any case, but I think my overall take is that, like, entry fees should vary depending on the event. So it's like, if you want to stay, like some kind of like I don't know, not to say it's like a low tier event, but it's like, like a event that hosts, like, I don't know, that can host like 200 people, then maybe, you can keep the entry fees kind of low, and that's like what you're shooting for, and then, like, I think people who want to do it big, like, like a stadium sometime, like Evo, it's like, you're going to have to up the game and, like, up the production quality. And it's like, like, and especially on top of that, the prize pools, it's like, we want to reward the players for, like, being part of this and, like, have it grow. So, maybe, like, that would require us to get the entry fee up. And I think, for the short term, that's, like, something we need to do. And then, like, eventually, maybe when we get, like, more sponsors or, like, more, like, things like that can help, supplement that, then maybe we could, keep it down again. But, it's like, since we're such a grassroots movement, it's like we have to be willing to do this, until, like, so we can keep our integrity. Because, we could easily just, inject that steroid and just say, oh, hey, let's just get all the corporate sponsors. Let's, like, give away like 90% of our, rights to, like, whatever the corporate, cronies want, and just, like, have them control everything, So
we'll get into that later for sure. Yeah. Don't worry, folks. It's Tuesday.
The blow-ups.
It's always Tuesday somewhere. You mentioned that, and it's just, I hear that argument of, let's just increase $5. That won't make anyone not come out. And I'm just like, listen, guys, maybe that is a solution for a couple of events, but you're just making the numbers go up to make the numbers go up, right? That's like such a short-sighted solution to be like, okay, let's make all the pop monsters, make it $20, make it $100, make it $5,000. Make it, because if everyone at Evo pays $5,000, that means that that Bonchan makes $1 billion, and then Bonchan will have $1 billion.
That's a huge win.
Then, like, 8 people will have $1 million. Isn't that what we want? Don't we want the billions of dollars? And it's like, you guys, like, that's not. I mean, sure, maybe make it a little bit more expensive. I mean, Evo still charges you $5 even if you don't want to enter any tournament for the BYOC tournament.
Yeah, that is a little strange to me. I don't know about that.
So looking into that, that's like a venue rule, like a law, which would otherwise makes everyone in the venue a competitor instead of a potential for spectators, so that, like, it makes it legal to have that kind of stuff of payouts at. Okay,
then that's understandable. I think because you have to abide by the law,
Right. It's a fucking law thing, but also, like, we're in fucking Vegas and the show floor is open for 2 days, and that's a whole other argument of like, is it even worth it for people to go to? If you're just a vendor or just trying to sell stuff or trying to do community stuff, even though it is the largest tournament in the world, you are so limited to 2 days, and you have to pay for travels, you have to stay in Vegas, you have to eat food in Vegas. Like, there are so many other costs involved to then say that, well, let's make the entry fee an extra $20. Well, it's like I can only, maybe that makes me not want to join X amount of games where I know that I'm just going to be a pop monster if I just want to play some fucking fighting games, because that's what people want to do at the end of the day. And now we're having arguments of like, well, let's make it 25, let's make it 50, because that means the people at the top will actually make livable money, whereas like literally everyone else who's just trying to play fighting games is out another $5, and it's like, fucking come on, people, let's be a little bit smarter about this shit.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do think there's a lot of creative ways to make it more better, I guess, because it's like like they have the whole like compendium thing for like Dota, and I think that might be like a better way, another way that we can incorporate, because it's like, the people that got the cash money, they can buy those compendiums, and like that adds to like a pod or something, and maybe they get some bonus that they kind of technically paid for in a sense. And then like people who don't quite have that money, but they just want to come to fight and play, then they don't have to buy that thing or something. There's
that's a good solution, and I think that it's a solution that I think that companies who run pro tours should take advantage of. But
because it's not even their own money,
that only applies to pro tours. And like, what about venues that aren't on the tour, that are just big tournaments that are outside of like pro events, that are still pulling numbers, still people are still showing up because it's a good tournament, but might not be on? Or what if the CPT is on this tour, but maybe the Tekken World Tour is not on the docket for this particular tournament, or X tournament, or Y tournament? It gets really complicated when the fighting game community is working with so many different companies all in one location, and then to say to build your entry fee off of that per game is like, well, where is all the money coming from, and who is paying for this shit? Even though we're all sharing the same stage, it gets really complicated.
Yeah, it's definitely weird for us as a community, because we have like, I don't know, 20 different companies like involved into one community, as opposed to where it's like homogenous with like Dota or like League of Legends or whatever game. It's basically every single person plays that one game, as opposed to us like every single person plays like 5 to 10 games, or there's just there's like 20, 50 different games that we can be a part of as a single community.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I look at what Capcom did with their esports division just this year, and their focus, their quote unquote focus on esports, where I feel like next year is going to be a launching point for them. I don't know exactly what. I feel like we're going to get some amateur leagues going on, probably a little bit more. I feel like they're investing in that side, like a little more college esports kind of stuff. But then also I want to remind people that those will be like Capcom sanctioned events. And you've got to follow the rules of Capcom, and we're still at the mercy of corporate overlords because they run and own this shit. People like, and these are the problems that we've been dealing with for fucking decades, right? Yeah. Because you even look at, we mentioned it earlier, but the Smash community has like huge issues with that, where they weren't at EVO one year, if you remember, because Nintendo was like, nah. Maybe not. I'm not saying that Capcom will go to the lengths of looking at tournaments and say like, no, you can't exhibit our game here. I'm not saying that. I don't think we're in that dark future yet. But like, I don't know. It's just something to think about. I mean, if you listen to last week's episode with Majin Obama, he's like, we need efforts at the grassroots level outside of this corporate money that like everyone seems to be trying to feed off of, even though it's such a small amount of money, where on a personal level, if people put in a little bit more effort, we can get a lot more out of it. Which is like the shit that you're doing with top tier GG. Like that's it. That's the that's the sauce right there. That's the Choy sauce,
so to speak.
Sorry.
It's all good.
I'll go bury myself after that pun.
I get a lot of those, so I'm totally used to it.
I don't deserve to talk into a microphone. I have, Father, forgive me. But anyway, so we're seeing the same fucking takes that we've seen month after month, year after year, of when our fucking FGC heroes are like, I only made $1,000. All right, well, maybe let's not add to that 1,000 from the hundreds of people that competed in the tournament. Maybe let's try and go after other types of money and bring that into the systems that we have. But I don't fucking know. That's not for us to decide, I don't think. And who knows if that'll actually be solved.
I think it's kind of more of like a call for people to, I don't know, get more creative about how to like generate money. Because I feel like it's always either, it's only sponsorships, it's only entry fees, it's only such and such, and like, there's like Matcherino. That's kind of like a new thing that's been happening, and it seems like it's really cool. Like that's been adding to the pot. That's very new. Like I never heard of a company that can do that. And
I really like what Matcherino has done. I mean, I'm biased because we use them for all of our player sponsorships that we do. Our community sponsorships are all through Matcherino now, because they have a bunch of products on their site that if you buy them through the site, a lot of them are like, here's the rub. A lot of that shit is like donated to their site. If you see something that's up for sale, there's a portion of that will likely go towards the pot. And it can be like anything. There's like comics, some like t-shirts, books, all that shit. And then that, if you just buy it there, then the money goes towards the pot, which is an interesting like different type of solution, right? To make the pot a little bit bigger. But they also, Matcherino themselves is just like, well, what if we inject a little bit of money into different games and different esports, because they've been doing a great job with the FGC of like promoting FGC events. Like, I only say that because I'm biased as fuck, because they work with us on all of our player sponsorships now and are always like, here's entering this offer code and you get like 25 cents to the pot, and that shit adds up. And I don't know.
It's amazing. It's like what was it? There was that Marvel 2 match that got up to like $7,000 and it like beat the Tekken World Tour pot. Hey man, that's Marvel, baby. They've always been running high stakes shit over there. But it's like, I feel like that's kind of like that idea was borrowed from like the Dota compendium kind of thing. It's like you could sell something and give a piece of it to the pot, and then like I feel like if someone, I don't know, not that I'm like that smart, but I'm sure there's like a lot of other ways that like we're not willing to try, or just kind of get creative and say, okay, this is another way we can think about generating money. That's kind of like a win-win situation for people. It's like people willing to pay money or spend money on something, like in some way that it can, flow into our community somehow. And,
almost as if those solutions need to be thought of by the companies who own the games. Because companies have the ability to add money or in some cases take it away. I want to bring this up just briefly. I'm only going to talk about it briefly because there's only so much information that we have right now, and I'm going to divert everyone. The episode has not been out yet, but go listen to the next episode of Ultra Chen around this date of, we're recording this on October 8th, 2019. So whatever Ultra Chen is after this date, listen to that one because I'm sure they're going to be talking about this. But Blizzard, with a little bit of pressure from China, has revoked. Hold on, here's what they did. So Blitzchung, this Hearthstone player, won a tournament and then stood in the interview afterwards. Just stood in solidarity of the people protesting in China, just very briefly, and then Blizzard like cut the fucking feed. They were like, nope, no politics, by the way. No politics here, folks. Which is an aside. When people come to me, a moderator of our Street Fighter, and be like, I hate seeing people talk about politics around my video game. I just want to play video games. I'm like, you motherfucker, you can't avoid it. Like, this is it. When China decides that they're going to revoke this dude's prize money, they're going to fire both of the casters that are involved, and they're going to ban that player. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, hey, how can you, at what point in your head is it where you're like, I have to avoid politics? Like, at what length are you going to avoid this shit? Because this is it. We're in it. We're in this dark future together, all of us together.
Yeah, man. Especially, with the medium that we, engage in, with it being, based on corporate stuff. It's like they make video games. It's like they're gonna control it, and and then shit like this is gonna happen where it's like, oh, we want to sell more games in China. Okay, we'll take your side on this whole thing, and then so please buy our games. It's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And then it gets way more complicated because a lot of the people who make those games, be it US, to have no influence on that major corporate decision to do something as fucking crazy as this, right? They're not, the people who are making the games aren't pandering to China. It's the people at the corporate level making those big high level decisions that just totally fuck everyone who works at the company who might disagree with that decision.
It's crazy. I mean, it just shows I don't know, a lot of, it's really going to expose anybody that, any company that's like, oh, we're in it for the profit, because it's like, if you're going to have standards, this is a big, thing, it's like, let this, country or the sovereign, state or whatever Hong Kong is, I'm not exactly sure, let them have their freedom or whatever. And I don't know exactly everything that's going on, but that's what it seems like,
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and then talk about Chinese politics or Taiwan, or we're not going to talk about.
I don't understand what's going on, but it's clear that the Blizzard is we want to make a lot of money. So China is a big market, and we don't want to lose that market. So that's so we'll just do this. It's we'll make them happy.
At the same time, you think you guys, Capcom did this earlier this year. They pulled out of the Hong Kong major, right?
Oh, is that right? I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it wasn't a CPT event. Even though the event happened, people went. They played. The event happened. Hot Dog was out there being like, "This is the fucking worst," because the top pulled out. We've already done this. Capcom has already done this. Not to this exact level, but it is this weird thing where we live in a world where the circle of political movements can affect your fucking video games. Because guess what? You just have to be cognizant of this shit. Yeah. And again, if this is something that maybe rustles your jimmies, if you get a little bit heated with this, I would say go follow the people who are actually doing boots on the ground movement for this. Follow those people. Look to what they're doing already, because there are people already doing revolutionary shit, and you're not going to see someone from the Blizzard community step up and be like, I will solve Hong Kong and China. No, that's not that. Or just fucking yelling into Twitter doesn't actually solve anything, right?
Yeah.
me being mad or me deleting all of the Blizzard games on my computer doesn't. I mean, that doesn't necessarily even send a like. There are larger problems here, guys, other than whether or not you play Diablo 3. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, since it is like dealing with like profits and things like that for this company, because that's what it is for them, you know. Like, you know, we can protest by just not buying Blizzard games, you know. We just say, hey, I'm not gonna buy any more of your games if you're gonna be acting this way. You know, you got to think about, you know. Like, I don't know, not to say that we have to take sides or whatever side anybody's on, but it's like if you're against, you know, whatever actions they did as a company, then it's like, you know, it's a prerogative to like not support and buy the games, even though it's like, oh my God, I really want to buy Diablo Immortal or download Diablo Immortal and buy all the, you know, microtransactions, right. You know, but. You know, so it's like that's what you can do as a consumer, you know. Like,
but then the other side of that is, well, now your financial decision is affecting all the people who work for Blizzard negatively, even though they had no.
Yeah, that's it gets a really situation. Yeah,
it gets really fucking bad when, like, who does your decisions hurt? Where, again, I just want to say that, like, if there's something you get heated about, follow the people who are doing work, which, actually, speaking of which, kind of to tie things around to what you were talking about in the beginning, but Eli, Body Novel, shared something, was it with me directly or just generally? I think it was just generally.
I don't know.
He just tweeted about this on Twitter of a fighter, because he's not in, what are the fucking, what's the
UFC fighter? Or?
Yeah, not a UFC fighter, but something along those lines. So years ago, this dude, and I think I even talked about it on this podcast before because I thought this shit's like fucking hilarious, but he is making a fucking political statement when he does it. So it's this fighter who, like, mixed martial arts. That's why I couldn't say it.
Okay.
I took a nap earlier and my brain's a little fuzzy still. Anyway, MMA fighter was going around China challenging all of these Tai Chi fighters.
Oh shit!
Because they're like, we're gonna use our mystical power to like fight people, and it's just like they look like fucking goons, right? Where they're using their chi to like fuck, quote, like the actors basically up, and then everyone like follows that, and this guy was just going around from dojo to dojo being like, no, I will fuck you up. Do not try that shit on me. And then there's like reels of him just fucking up these old men who are like trying to throw their chi energy at him, and he's just like, here's my fucking fist to your face, like bloodying these old men. And there's a part of that is just like so fucking funny to me, but at the same time, like, he is now in the center of, or at least a part of this political unrest, and has a seat in it because it is fighting back against all of these old things that China has in place, and he gets blacklisted a lot of the time and has to go through the dark web to even get his message out because China has a lockdown on that shit. Anyway, I don't remember the guy's name at the top of my head. Certainly not right. I did not plan to talk about this right now, but I would just go follow Body Novel on Twitter.com. That guy, he's got some good shit. But anyway, after enough talking about fucking up old men.
Yeah.
Because what we can talk about instead of fucking up old men is fucking up people online.
Shit.
I do want to bring this up, at least briefly. To me, it's like this. It would be this hilarious joke if Capcom wasn't running a fucking Olympic event in online tournaments. If only that wasn't happening.
Is the legend gonna join this the Olympics?
Dude, I fucking hope so. Goddamn. Because like they haven't caught him yet, they haven't banned him yet, which is another fucking crazy thing. So,
well, I think you need to drop the name right.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen this yet, there's this guy whose CFN is RisingDragonGod.
Yes.
And he has figured out some way to hack the system in ways that initially people were like, oh, he's just using like the survival mode buffs. He's just like using them all but online. But then he's like, what about giant Zangief?
Oh shit, that was so sick.
And it's like, okay, this is comical. This is like performance art. This is
Let me show you my infinite crouching like kick.
Yeah, because the Zangief is so big, he is pushing off the end of the stage and keeping that crouch like you in range for crouch like kick on the other end of the fucking screen. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. But also his crouching like kick deals like a fucked. Oh man, it's just fucking hilarious. That shit is. It is like modern performance art, and I fucking love it.
I guess he just joined Twitter just so he could show off his exploits. So he's like, I think it's like at RisingDragonGod 1 or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's awesome. I love it. It's the best thing.
Yeah, it is like astounding to me that he hasn't been banned yet.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It doesn't make sense. Have you seen the latest one though? Like that he posted. So no, he has this like miniature Ryu that's like you can't even like do crouching medium punch on him. It's just like the hitbox is so small, but it's like the fireball goes across the ground and it's like moving ridiculously fast. And on top of that, he picks the Karen beach stage, so he like goes under the water.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Like this is modern This is so. Oh, that's so good and pure. Don't fight my tiny. Don't mess with my young boy. Perfect. My tiny boy is so good. Oh my god, that's so fucking funny. Oh my goodness, that's so smart. Shout outs to that guy. That is just fucking phenomenal. And
I hope they never catch him. You know?
He's like the Robin Hood of our time. I want him to continue to do these online crimes and
get away with it.
Yeah, I'm kind of rooting for him. You know, he's stealing from not really the rich, because ain't nobody rich on CFN. He's just creating art. This is good. It's so good, you guys. I love this shit. This is so fucking funny to me. I didn't know about the mini review. That's really good.
like I know like when the Blanca glitch like came out, like that shit was like mad hilarious. You know, it's like you see all these people like, you know, doing the world on like all of these people, and it's like, oh, that's great, that's awesome, that's so funny. But this is like 10x that, you know?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it is way better than that. But anyway, again, just wanted to bring that up shortly. I'll share a link in the show notes of where to see some of the latest exploits, because that's really funny. But I guess again to wrap things around, I do just want to give a shout out, and I'll just share it in the show notes, because I think that we should shout out creators when they do good creative work, and especially small creators, because there's so many small creators in the FGC that just you don't get views. And even if the video is great and fantastic, which this video is, it's a video about psychology in fighting games and how to kind of apply that to your game and how that affects your way of thinking. This is from Mr. Headache. Again, I'll just share the link in the show notes. Go watch the video. It's really good. Go like, subscribe, all this stuff. If you find something good, don't let it go. Support it. We need to support these small things. But all right. Anyway, we gotta finish this episode. We gotta close. Sure. Turn off the lights here. But before I do, I have to ask you two questions. It's a question that I ask everyone when they come on the show for the first time, and I think that it can tell a lot about your character in the way that you answer it. So it's a two-parter. First part of the question is, what is your favorite normal attack in any fighting game?
I have to say off the top of my head, it'd be like Guile Forward Fierce, because it's just like
that back fist.
That's right, man. It's just like bam. It's like you feel it, you know, like not just the character but you. It's like damn it, like it just hurts so much, you know. Like you could just feel how like visceral and like how much it hurts, you know.
I've walked into way too many of those.
Ooh, yeah.
Listen, as a Zangief player who's trying to slightly walk forward in between every sonic boom, you block the boom and you move forward, and he's like, "Ha, nah, bitch!" And
right in the face.
Fucking goddamn, man! Every time. No, that's a good answer. I like that. Part 2, though, is what is your favorite combo in any fighting game?
Oh, let's see. I think for this one, it has to be Guilty Gear XX AC's Eno's like B&B. So
okay.
So
explain it.
So like I picked up AC like when Exert was about to drop, but they did plus R. So that's when I picked up AC again. Or I mean I played it when I was like younger, but I didn't really take it seriously. But I picked up Eno. And I just heard that like, oh yeah, it's like her combos are like ridiculously hard, and it's like, oh man, I feel like my execution's pretty good, so I'm like, yeah, how hard could it be? Oh man, that was the wrong question, because it's like this shit took me like 4 hours to like land like once, like because it has to do with something called like FRC, and then you have to do like a input a dash into the motion, and it's like, oh my god, this is a headache. So
what you're referring to is a false Roman cancel.
Yeah, false Roman cancel. Like
is its whole thing, which is not
blue. Yeah,
not yellow Roman canceling, which is kind of like the easier version of that in the video game. This is a harder thing to do.
Yeah, it's super, super hard. It's like a tight window for like the RC Roman cancel that you can do. So it's like, you have to do this ridiculous motion. I mean, you could probably look it up online just how to do it, but I practiced it. I don't know. I'd probably say like at least a good 16 to 30 hours, like just that combo. But like the reason why it's my favorite is because that combo was so damn hard. Like I landed it once in tournament, and like I think it was on a stream. So like once I landed it, like I just wanted to drop the controller and just say, I won. I just won the round, It's like I'm just so good. I landed this, So it's just like it made me feel so good, but I mean I won that match thankfully. But then it's like at that point I just wanted to say like it's over. I'm good. I'm nice.
Yeah, you did what you had accomplished, and I respect that feeling, especially when you spend so much time on a really intricate combo or anything like that, getting that reward of landing it in a real match, because you can lab all you want. That's fine. If you can't land it in a match, that combo doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not real. But no, that's cool. And also, that particular combo, I like the sounds that she makes during that combo.
Oh yeah, the shing shing.
Yeah, but it's like a crunchy shing. It's
yeah.
It's like the audio to it.
Yeah,
is like
the guitar kind of sound.
It's a little crunchy. It's a little distorted, and there's something to that is. I don't know. I talk about the way that combos sound all the time. It's a very visceral feeling that I can fuck with. But in any event, that's all, folks. That's a show. Before you go, where can people find you on the internet? Where can people go to Top Tier GG? Yeah,
so you can find me at ChoySauce85 on Twitter. You can also follow our Twitter for Top Tier GG at Top Tier GG. And if you want to check out the website, it's toptier.gg. So you can just type that in the browser and you can find it. One thing I do ask is that, if you do know someone or you go to an event and, you don't find it there, maybe you could help us out and submit one. And if you do find it there, maybe you could help us update it, because most likely, I don't know, it might not be quite up to date. So if anybody listening could help us out there, I think it'll help everybody out.
It's always a possibility. All right, well, it has been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for taking the time and sharing all you have about Top Tier GG and all that shit. I'm looking forward to whatever you have in the future, and I wish you the best of luck. But that's all right. Thank you, folks. Sir. Again, you can find me at SuperJoeMonday on Twitter.com or at RedditSF, or just head on over to R Street Fighter. I'm there. I see it. Upvote the shit you like, downvote the shit you don't like. It's all good, folks. But that's an episode. Again, want to give a shout outs to Piano Densetsu for the intro music. That shit is hot. If you like it enough, I might just release the full track on the YouTube channel or something. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. Anyway, always rate and review the show on wherever you get your podcasts. The one on iTunes I hear is the most beneficial, but wherever you want to do it, I'm not going to judge you. Anyway, that's a show, folks. Until next time, take care. Peace.